So I got through college.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to tonight's planning and zoning meeting. If you'll please make sure that your green light is on and your microphone is pulled down so we can pick you up on the recording. For introductions, I want to start by saying my name is Linda Kowski and I am the city manager of Keystone Heights. We have Mr. Rich Commando, who is the city attorney, and then Mr. Kenny Hall, who is our public works director. Because this is our first meeting, I figured we'd just go down the line and introduce ourselves, and then followed by that, our first order of business is going to be nominating a chairman and a vice chairman. So, Mr. Dillon, we'll start with you.
Yep, hi, I'm Dylan Bennett.
Ryan Knight.
Dr. John Zeeser.
Gene Ivy.
Elston Cussler.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. We do need to select a chairman and a vice chairman. The chairman runs the meetings, goes through the agenda items, calls for votes, and then the vice chairman will step in the absence of the chairman. And so this evening, are there anybody who's one volunteering or two nominated to be chairman?
It might help if anyone has chaired an appointed meeting or local government meeting. May want to talk about kind of what your experience has been.
The last thing I chaired was the Men's Ministry Coordination Council in the Pacific Northwest in 1993. I think 30 years ago probably does not qualify me.
If you're the only one that's done it, maybe you should be.
Alrighty.
You're sitting in the middle.
I will take it. I am in the middle. That was my name for my nephews.
All right, so is there a nomination for chair?
I nominate the doctor.
I second.
You don't need a second for nomination. Are there any other nominations? Okay, seeing
Motion to
none.
close nominations.
There's a motion to close nomination. That does require a second.
Second.
All those in favor of closing nominations, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Doctor, congratulations. You are now the chair.
Thank you.
So at this point, we also need to have a nomination for vice chair. This is the individual who would step in at the time where the chair was unable to be present at a meeting.
Don't everyone jump up at once.
I'll volunteer.
Thank you, Mr. Ivy. Are there any other volunteers or nominations?
Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion to close the nominations?
Motion to close.
With the motion, and I'll treat the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Mr. Ivy, congratulations for your position as vice chair. Mr. Chair, you're welcome to take on the meeting from this point forward, starting with public comment. At this time, I'll tell you, we'll walk through it together.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
So, for any government meeting, the Florida statute says that you're required to take public comment on anything that deals with a public item. When you have certain hearings, you're going to also have the opportunity for a public hearing where people from the public can speak on a particular project. However, their public comment is really general for anything that may possibly come before you. So at this time, is there any public comment for an item that's not on the agenda? Okay, seeing none, we can close the public comment period and move on to the first item for consideration, which is a use by exception related to the storage units. Madam Manager, if you'll
Yes.
present.
Mr. Chairman, and the Planning and Zoning Board, the City of Keystone Heights has received an application for use by exception. This is at 101 Commercial Drive. It's at the corner which has been previously known as Crystal's or Futch's Tractor and Lawn Maintenance Equipment. The applicant is here. The provided sheet was a staff report that reviewed our code of ordinances, allowing for parking, for the buffer between residential and commercial, and anything else, the space that was required. So if there's any questions that I can answer or either the applicant can answer?
I have none.
Just generally about how long do you think the upgrade would take?
And anybody who's speaking, just because we do record this, if you'll come up to the microphone, please. And
Hi.
I can't see. Is that microphone on? Is there a little light on?
Yes, sir, it is.
Thank you.
Okay, excellent. Hi, my name is John Pellerito, and it's very loud there. Yes, definitely. Thanks for coming and listening. So, to answer your question in time frame, we have the quotes for the build out right now, and then that's going to take a time frame. We've been told probably around 3-4 months for the materials. And so everything will be somewhat contained in the building. The building is there and established, so it's just a matter of just cleaning out, retroing the inside, bringing the materials in.
And you say
So
once the materials are in, do you have a contractor lined up to do the retrofit, or what is the game plan for installation?
yes, so the provider of the materials, they also recommend a contractor. So yes, they estimate 3 to 4 days
Okay.
for the install.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So the outside of the building is going to stay the same, or what do you have planned for that?
Outside of like cosmetics, cleaning things up, painting and, branding and things like that. So landscapes, yeah, that would be it really. I think we just kind of clean the place up for sure.
How many employees will your venture have, full or part-time?
I would say with the self-storage, it's pretty, it just runs itself. And as far as somebody on site, there probably wouldn't be somebody there. And everything would be controlled by cameras and, systems of that nature. So we currently have a storage off of 21. So the same employees would be managing that, and that's about 4.
So the facility on Highway 21, you own or operate, manage?
Yes, sir.
So this is your second, or do you have others?
That would be the second, yes.
Okay, how long has the first one been in operation?
For us is,
Well, we're right at a year, but
Right
it
at a year.
was built, I think, in 2006.
okay.
Okay, so you are the second owner of the one on 21?
Yes, sir.
Is there a break-even point you're looking at? How many years are you going to recoup? I'm assuming the property's purchased and closed and everything, so you have invested dollars.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a break-even point in terms of the future where you expect to be starting to generate some positive revenue?
So even though that's a good question, I would say be careful, just because there are certain criteria that you have to use in granting or denying an exception. And whether or not they're going to make money or investment, things like that, aren't the criteria for a use by exception. So when you look at your packet, there's we have a code of ordinances for the city. 17-100 is what's used for commercial general. And you'll notice there's a general category in subsection 1, and then subsection 2 has a list of permitted uses. That means if I own a piece of commercial property or commercial general property, whatever's in that permitted use, I can do without having to get permission from anybody. And then there's a secondary category, and that secondary category says that it's a use by exception, meaning that I can't just go ahead and do it. I have to come to council as long as I meet criteria for parking, compatibility with the surrounding area, and things like that. So that's the criteria or the lens by which you're going to evaluate whether or not to approve or
Okay.
deny this application.
So can I withdraw the question?
You can.
My only other question would be, RV and boat storage into the future, that's not, covered here, but the property is larger than just that building. We wouldn't want to see that kind of, blockage right in the middle of town and things, so it would just be straight to the designation that you're applying here for the specific use for just the storage units, correct?
That is correct. Currently, that is what we're looking for. And, again, we're not looking to have a bunch of outside stuff, so, yeah.
Well, you could, one of my questions involves, that's probably, since we have only 2 stoplights, that's one of the 2 prime parts of our
Yeah.
little city.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have plans beyond the current number of slots? I don't know if that's an appropriate question or not, but
That is because, parking and what you're describing is really concurrency or kind of traffic flow. That's something that you can consider.
Yeah. Ultimately, is that property something that deserves a indoor storage? Could it be something better? Could it be something different? And, that's something that we've talked about as well. So I think, our game plan was let's get a head start on revenue. And, to answer your question, with the history that we have already, it would profit. And so, I mean, it's not going to fail based on the amount of units that we could get inside. But whether that is a forever thing for this property, yeah, I mean, we've been, presented, by a few companies that I think just not the right timing and, maybe not the best fit. So we just kind of denied on that, so.
And when you look at those permitted uses, I mean, this type of property is really meant for restaurants, banks, retail. So from a planning and zoning perspective, as what you're trying to look at, you're looking at the intensity of what the property can be used for.
Right.
And then when you see something like a storage coming through, is that more or less intense? And candidly, it'll be less intense. So with a lower level of intensity, the things you're trying to figure out are, like, for example, and you're not, but if somebody came in and wanted to put a gas station in, is there going to be noise? Is there going to be traffic problems, things like that? So as you look at traffic patterns, I don't know that there's any traffic studies that have been done related to the application. I can't imagine it's going to be a whole lot different than if it was a restaurant, that type of traffic that would affect the parcel.
So you've got X number of slots, I can't remember the exact number, cubicles within the building that you're planning, but I think the wording was at this time. Are there any active plans beyond the number of cubicles?
We would not increase the size of the building. We can currently get a number of cubicles ranging in size, but outside of that, I wouldn't add on to this building to do more units or anything like that. I mean, I think it'll be the potential of the building, and then beyond that, it might be just a completely different scene if we ever get to that point.
Here again, I don't know if this is an appropriate question, but so the way I hear it, this is to get started, to recoup some of your investment, whatever that is. We don't need to know. I don't need to know.
Yeah.
But for example, if Cracker Barrel came to you and said, we'd like to purchase that property from you or let you be the landlord and we want to put a Cracker Barrel in there, and the money was right, you would be willing to move in that direction.
I think that, if that's a good fit for the town, I mean, we would present that,
Yep.
and,
Okay,
absolutely.
that's all I need to know.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Appreciate your response.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It says here you have roughly on a dimension mentioned, 20 feet of yardage, front, side, rear. Do you already have somebody lined up to take care of that? Will you have somebody lined up to take care of that? And if so, what is the plan for that? Shrubbery, grass, trees? I'm just curious how that's going to look.
Yeah, we would definitely have, and then we currently do have services for that, so they would just pick up and manage that.
Thanks. I mean, their area's trimmed and well manicured. To me, that's important.
It is.
As the people come up from 100, whomever they may be, that's one of the things they're going to see straight from the highway.
Right, and it did get up a little bit. We just cleaned it up, and it was just because we were in this weird limbo of information, and based on some of the offers that we received. But so yeah, no.
So you had mentioned 3 to 4 months for material, and a few days after that. What's your look? Assuming everything goes forward, and we in government say, "Yep, yeah, we're good." How fast are you looking at starting?
I would say first of the year, the materials would be purchased.
I mean,
And
opening. When do you plan on opening the doors?
I would say as soon as they're done, because by the time we get the materials, the exterior and different things, we can be doing things, and then once the materials show up, the crew will come in. That thing will be done.
Okay.
And I would say, yeah, as soon as it's ready, all the business structure's there. It's just an addition.
Yeah, that's where my current career path happens to be. I was just curious.
Yeah, okay.
My only other question here, it goes back to Rich saying future usages or potential usages. I know the city is looking to potentially expand on our own government facilities. Is that the size structure or something that would be, interested in as a town to upgrade from here to there, even as a stopgap measure? because it has listed as specific uses, government buildings and facilities, it's
So-
automatically approved.
So, yeah, that's just something that can be done by right. But because we don't own the property, we would look at the properties that we already own. So I wouldn't imagine this would have anything to do with that.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Would you anticipate needing to come before us again if you were to make modifications to what we're voting to approve this evening, based on your understanding of current zoning rules?
I would say if we had any additions to our plans, we would definitely present that.
Okay. Well, that's all. Thank you.
And Mr. Knight, to answer your question, any expansions or anything of that nature would have to come in before the city of Keystone Heights for permit review and evaluation if it meets the criteria of sending it back to planning and zoning for additional expansion. If it's outside of the motion this evening, if there is a motion, then that would be brought to your board.
Yeah, the three words "at this time" at the end of the first paragraph were the reason I asked the question.
Yes, and then that would kind of reflect, is this the best use for the property? Is this the ultimate goal? I think, I would love for Cracker Barrel to come in, or just a really nice, it looks like Cracker Barrel already. So, but yeah, no, currently right now, the goal is to get something established for cash flow.
I have nothing else.
Yeah, we have nothing else to add.
So with there being nothing else, usually as a precaution, I would advise clients to ask if there's any other public hearing, just to make sure that somebody from the public would get an opportunity to speak on behalf of the application or in opposition to the application, but I don't see anyone else here that would do that. With that being said, at this time, it would be appropriate for someone to make a motion whether to approve or deny the application that's before you.
Motion to approve or deny?
Pick one.
Approve.
Okay.
I'll second.
So there's a motion and second, and then Mr. Chair, you can call for the vote.
Call for vote?
So if you
Say aye.
agree with the motion, you would say aye.
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 If you disagree with the motion, you would say nay. And it appears the motion passes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
And Ms. Rakowski, if there's anything else that's for the board tonight,
There are no other agenda items this evening, gentlemen.
and I would anticipate that there are items that are going to be coming up in the beginning of next year, so we will have another meeting as soon as those applications are appropriate to be presented to you. So, seeing none,
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Chair, you can have a motion to
Yeah.
adjourn.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
So usually the second to that one's pretty quick. And then call for your vote.
Call for vote to adjourn.